So today we are in a new setup in a beautiful front yard of Tia's home in the jungle of Brazil. And we decided to talk about the shifts that have happened in the last over 3 weeks since my arrival. And we were reflecting how many things have happened and who I have become, who you have become in the process, and what this means to us individually, to us as friends, to us as leaders, as coaches, as facilitators, what it means to you as a listener. And we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We have a list of things that we want to talk about and share with you as learnings and as some guidance, how to live a life that's in alignment with who you really are.
So, yeah, the reason that once in a while we are looking at the right or the left is because you're sitting next to each other just with two cameras, because we are in a wider yard. And so yeah, we will be covering many shifts that have taken place over the last few weeks, about also how people have been reacting to your move, how people have been trying to put you and your life into their box, which is something very common that everyone does all the time, is try to associate how this relates to my personal opinions, my beliefs, the way I look at the world, instead of connecting with who you are and what you are going through.
Which is interesting because, so first of all, I took a digital detox for a month. And I did, well, I was still checking some stuff and interacting with some people in DMs on LinkedIn, for example, but I didn't share anything for an entire month. And then I returned back like, hey, I'm suddenly in Brazil. And a lot of people were asking me questions like, oh, so are you moving to Brazil, first of all, like, as if I have to be in one specific place. Which isn't the case, because why not to allow yourself to also just go with the flow and be wherever you want to be. Some people were automatically assuming that this is just a holiday, which isn't the case either. So that's exactly what Tio was mentioning, that people are very easy and quick to make conclusions and to put people into boxes. And that's exactly what happened when I was put into different boxes right away.
For example, like when I moved to Brazil for the first time, I was a bit more clear on this being a long-term move, that, okay, I am quitting my job at Amazon. I am moving out of Seattle. I'm moving out of the United States. I am moving to Brazil. I am not going to be living in a city. I don't have a postal address. I am going to be living in the middle of nowhere. So it was much more difficult for people to put me in their box. And they were freaking out a lot more because of that. It's like, wait, what are you doing? What's happening? It was very difficult for people to comprehend a completely different life. It's like, you're supposed to have a job, but you're supposed to have an apartment, but you're supposed to have an address, but you're supposed to have all these things. And how can you not have all of this? And how can you not have the convenience of Amazon Prime delivering things to you overnight? And how can you not have the convenience of a grocery store where you just walk and buy things? And you have to drive 20 minutes just to be in civilization? Like, what is that? So it was so difficult for people to put me into a box because I was shifting to such a radically different life. And you, well, I'm guessing you at least like publicly did not give a lot of details about, okay, I am just changing my life completely. And, you just posted that, okay, I am going to live, or I have been in Brazil for 3 weeks, and people are like, oh, nice vacation. And, oh, what are you doing in Brazil? And when are you coming back?
And which city are you going to, or which city are you spending your time in? And I'm like, no, I'm in the middle of nowhere, like literally in the jungle. But yeah, that's the thing, that's it's so easy to slip into how things are supposed to be, because that's what everybody does. But actually, I mean, I didn't even plan this to be the way it is. And that's the beauty of it. I embrace the unknown fully, and I just booked the flight over 3 weeks ago, and I was sitting on the plane without having a return ticket. I still don't have a return ticket. And I'm enjoying this unknown to the fullest. And I allow the unknown to teach me what are the next steps going to be, and how things are going to unfold in an organic way, without me as the egoic me who actually doesn't know shit about how to live life, who's normally going to put some structures into my life. I allow my heart to lead. I allow the unknown to lead, which is the beauty, the magic that creates this essence of freedom and feeling like, you know what, this is the first time in my entire life that I don't want to have a structure. I don't want to know all the answers. I don't want to know what's next. I want to live so freely that I don't want my ego to get in the way and start deciding how things are supposed to unfold, because then I will just, I don't know, I will just lose the magic. I love it.
It's also interesting that you say, I don't want, but a lot of people also need that certainty and that structure. They need it, they crave it. And the moment it starts going away, they start feeling insecure and they start feeling anxious, and they start planning and trying to control everything and putting it back into a box that is familiar, that is known to them. But when you start creating that trust within yourself, you start realizing, I don't need it and I don't want it. It's not only I don't want it, and then you realize, oh fuck, this is very uncomfortable and I need to go back into structure. You start realizing, I can trust myself to navigate the unknown and be okay. And whatever life brings, I will do something with it. One of the big shifts that I have made in my life, and I've helped a lot of people make, is to realize that in the victim mindset, a lot of people live in the reality that circumstances are happening to them, and they're always reacting to the circumstances, and they're victims of the circumstance. I have to deal with all the problems that life is creating for me. Whereas in this empowered stand, where life is happening with you and you are dancing with life, circumstance becomes a resource. Your circumstances are gifts that life is giving you, and you are figuring out, how do I weave this into the story of my life? How do I use whatever is happening to my advantage, to my benefit? So it's a completely different way of looking at life, as being oppressed by life versus life giving you gifts all the time. And what do I do with it?
I love that. And that's the dance between you and the circumstances, and still using those circumstances to your advantage as a creator. Like, it's kind of like recycling whatever is happening in your life. And, you know, like, some shit can happen in life. You know, maybe you lose someone, maybe you lost a job, maybe recession is affecting your business, like whatever is happening. Okay, how can you recreate yourself? How can you use that to your advantage? Such as, I think I mentioned in some of the previous videos that the pandemic was a huge opportunity for me, when I suddenly realized, oh, wow, I can work online and have clients online. If that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Like literally 3 years ago, over 3 years ago, I decided to push myself and to start creating content online simply because the circumstance was that I couldn't meet my clients face to face. And if that wouldn't have happened, my life would have been a completely different story. So how can you use whatever is happening in your life externally to your advantage?
And as you were preparing for this episode, you also started realizing that you have become a digital nomad.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. So basically, years ago, I don't know exactly know when, but probably 7, 8, maybe even 10 years ago, I had this dream or vision that I would like to have a base somewhere, such as in Portugal, and have the flexibility to travel the world whenever I please. So maybe go to Asia for a few months, maybe go to South America for a few months, maybe go to the US for some conference or whatever, and just basically just live this really flexible life and be all over the place. And as we were sitting preparing for this recording, I realized, oh, actually, I live it now. And right before moving to Brazil, I was still based in Portugal for over 2 years, and I was still living a very conventional life in some senses, because I had a house, I had a car, I had my things kind of planned and in boxes. And then I was sitting here and I was like, wow, I actually don't have a base anymore. I still pay taxes in Portugal. I still have a car there, which is just standing for weeks. But actually, I do finally live the life that I envisioned years ago. And I didn't do it, again, with my egoic mind trying to mold myself in, like, oh, I have to make this happen. It just happened naturally. It just unfolded in this natural way because I was doing something that I love doing. I started doing things that came from a place of passion, from a place of curiosity, from a place of how can I become the version of me that I'm excited to be? How can I do things that excite me? How can I create something that fulfills me? How can I learn things that I feel really curious to learn more about? How can I connect with people that I can learn from and I feel drawn to, that I can call my soulmates? And it's just so fascinating that all of the things that have happened in the meantime, they led to where I am now, which literally fulfilled the dream and a vision that I have identified years ago.
Yeah. And like, even when I was telling you, you've become a digital nomad, and you were like, I don't even call myself a digital nomad. I'm like, what are you talking about? So it was the reason I'm emphasizing that is that it was so organic that you don't even realize that is the life that you're living.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, I want to be a digital nomad and I have to do all these things. It's just like you start living the life that you want to live.
Yeah. And also it's really interesting because it's not a label that I am so fascinated by. I don't care if I'm a digital nomad, if I'm a nomad, if I'm whatever, if I'm a hippie, if you want to call me a hippie, I'm a hippie. It's fine. It's not about the labels. It's not about some kind of, again, like, it's not about boxes. I realize that I live a life outside of the box, outside of my own box. Forget about the people who were putting me in a box, like talking about what I, gave as examples of people asking me questions if I was on a holiday, but also family, for example, or friends. Nobody is putting me in a box, including myself. Even I don't know what kind of a box I would put myself in if I chose to. Like, I don't know. It's just so awesome to have that freedom.
Yeah, for me, like like I was saying, like when I came here, it was so out of any box that either I could imagine or anyone else could imagine. It's like, what is life? What is my life going to be? What, I had no idea. So for me, everything was being shaped by the unknown. Like I was living, first, I did not even have a house. I was just living in one of the houses that I was given as a volunteer. Then I built this house. So I had a permanent residence. But at the same time, I was working remotely. So I was like in the middle of a digital nomad. I can work and live from anywhere I want, but I have a permanent residence. So I'm working for companies all across the world. I'm doing freelancing, I'm doing contracting, but I'm living in the middle of nowhere without a postal address at the same time. So yeah, it's like you can design a life that is completely unique, completely out of any box that anyone can ever imagine. And finally, it's like you start realizing that you are doing what you really enjoy, and you don't have to put any label on it, and you don't have to box it, and you're just enjoying life, whatever shape it is.
Yeah, I will pick up on two words that you said in the last few minutes. One is design, and I have a T-shirt that says "You design yourself," and I think this is such a great way to approach life as a designer, as a creator, as someone who has the power to do whatever it is that you want, like literally. And sure, some people are maybe more talented in one area or another. Maybe I'm not as great of a singer as Beyonce, for example, but there are other things that I can definitely connect with more and embrace that. So that's one word that I would encourage everyone to think about. How do you want to design yourself? Who do you want to yourself to become? How do you want to design your life? How do you want to design your lifestyle? And the other word that I want to pick up on is trust. And that's an episode also that we have discussed that at length earlier a few weeks ago. But trust is this element that is extremely important in designing your life. And without trust, again, I wouldn't be here. Without trust, I wouldn't have made all these kind of seemingly crazy decisions to live in the jungle, or to quit my job, or to end a relationship that I thought I was going to marry this man, and I just ended that relationship over 5 years ago. None of that would have happened if I didn't have trust and belief in myself. If I didn't trust myself that I will make it work, that I will create a life that I am proud of, that I'm happy with, that I'm fulfilled by, that I get excited by every single day. And trust is just this element that you need to reconnect with that feeling within yourself to recreate your entire life for the better. If you don't have trust, then you're not going to have that power. Again, coming back from that episode that we recorded earlier, then you will not have the access. You will not even take the needed steps to reconnect with that power that you do have internally to create the life that you want. That's why trust and power are so important. Because when you trust yourself, you go and reach it, and you reconnect with the power that you already have at any given moment, because everyone has that within themselves. It's just a matter, do you take the deliberate decision to reach out to it, to reconnect with it, and then act accordingly and take the necessary steps to create a life that you want? Or do you just sit around and play a victim, like you said earlier?
And also, like I was already thinking about this today morning, and you highlighted the same thing. I'm looking at not Ruta right now. I'm looking at monkeys.
There are monkeys. Oh,
yeah, there are monkeys. But basically, the distinction between designing your life and designing yourself, the two things are different. One question is, who are you and who do you want to be? How do you want to show up in the world? How do you want to act and how do you want to be? The two things are also different. Because a lot of who we are is designed by the world. It's the conditioning that's been given to us by our family, by our culture. So others have designed us to be who we are. So designing yourself is one thing. And then there is designing your life, which is what work do I want to do? What job do I want to do? Do I want to be an entrepreneur? Whatever it is, do I want to be an artist? What are the relationships that I want to have? What are the kind of people I want to associate with? So all of that I would put into the category of designing your life. But there is that importance of, it's not just about designing your life, it's also about designing yourself and paying attention to both those factors.
Maybe it's even more important to design yourself first as the primary focus, because the design, the life that you will design, it comes from who you are becoming. So because if it's the other way around, if you focus on designing your life, then oftentimes you just come from the wrong place. So yeah, you're definitely looking at the monkey.
There's a baby monkey.
Where? I see.
Yeah, I'm a bit distracted. And then talking about hippies, you're wearing some new colorful clothes. You went shopping.
Finally!
You went shopping yesterday.
Finally, it happened. So basically, yeah, after living in Europe, I became, first of all, I was a very minimalistic person. I didn't want to own a lot of stuff. So my lifestyle enables me to pack my stuff in a couple of bags and I can move. And I just don't have much. And when it comes to clothes, I maybe exactly have 2 bags of clothes. And when I moved to Portugal, somehow my wardrobe became kind of boring and rather monotonous. Is that a word? Monotonous? It became rather black oriented. And when I came here, not only that Tio was always wearing amazingly colorful things, but also I noticed that people are also wearing colorful clothes. And I realized that, you know what? I also want to, I want to express myself more as the me who is like Ruta 4.0, not even 2.0, it's like 4.0. The Ruta who is more childlike, more playful, more of an essence of who she really is, rather than the German who is like in putting things into boxes, and the Ruta who is going with the flow more. And honestly, even back in the corporate, actually, I told you, was it yesterday? That I was called a rainbow Ruta at some point, because I was actually wearing a lot of colorful clothes at the time. But somehow, just out of convenience, I lost that part of myself and I became very minimalistic with things. And what I noticed is that in my wardrobe, I looked at my wardrobe and it wasn't a hell yes. It was like, yeah, I mean, it's nice, it's convenient, it's easy to wash, it's easy to mix and match and stuff like that. But it wasn't a hell yes. And then yesterday we went to some shops and I was just like, I love these things. It's so colorful and it's so like jungle and it puts a smile on my face. And now every time I look at myself in the mirror, I even look like I'm prettier. I look at myself and I'm like, I look nicer. I look prettier. I immediately smile just looking at my shirt. It's just so amazing. So yeah, I don't know. Am I a hippie? No, I'm not. But
Yeah, a lot of people look at my clothes. So today I decided to wear black so that you can shine more. I have like maybe two black shirts, and they were also not my own choosing. They were gifts. I like maybe wear them once a year or something like that.
yeah.
And today I'm wearing one. But like when people usually look at my clothes, they think I'm a hippie. But like that's also again, putting people into a box. For me, this is part of designing yourself. It's like I love colors. I love to express my because I feel colorful on the inside.
Yeah.
I like to be colorful on the outside. And okay, if people want to think I'm a hippie, I really don't give a shit because I know who I am. And yeah, yes, I have some hippie traits and I'm not even ashamed of that. Yes, I am a little hippie, but I'm not just a hippie. That is one aspect of me. I'm also a very normal person. I'm also very uh, I am unique and I'm also very human and I'm very not special. So I'm special and I'm not special. That's one of the topics I wanted to talk about today is that there like I discovered in the last week in a psychedelic experience that I had the deep need to get attention for being special and standing out and look at me and look at how I'm better than everyone else and look at all these things I have done in my life. And I started realizing that actually I have another need is just to be accepted for being normal and not being a weirdo and not being special and not being unique. And I'm just another human with very human uh, way of doing things. And I started creating this whole line of work that I'm going to be developing in my own teaching practice of you don't need to be special. You can just be normal and you can not stand out and you can just fit into the crowd and get lost in the crowd and it's okay. It's like you're just another one. I think a lot of people are in that unconsciously and but they're not comfortable with it. They're not comfortable with just being another human. They want to stand out, they want to get attention. Or they're on the other end of the spectrum is that they don't want to stand out and they're uncomfortable having attention for being special, for being unique, and they just want to disappear in the crowd. So for me now, I started coming to the balance where I'm very comfortable getting a lot of attention for being unique, for being special, for people recognizing my being unique and my doing unique and special and talented things. And I'm also very comfortable just being in the background of a crowd and not being noticed and I'm not special. So I feel like now I am in the balance. I'm comfortable with both ends of the spectrum. So I get to choose what I want to be in any moment. Do I want to be special right now or I don't need to be special and I can just not be special and enjoy that too.
Mm. And when we spoke about it the other day, also you mentioned exactly about that, like I see you as both. And that's also what makes us have this really incredible connection because I see you as a special human being, um, as a really incredible human that I can easily connect with in a really deep way. And at the same time, I also see you as just a normal person, just a normal person that I love, that I can spend time with, that I can have silly conversations, that I can laugh with, that I can be authentically, stupidly myself, that we can be acting like kids and things like that, and it makes us just normal human beings, and that combination is just so beautiful. And I think for people listening, I would personally love to normalize being both and being visible. I would love to normalize visibility. And like you said, so many people are either seeking for attention or they are hiding from it. And I would love to normalize just being yourself fully, and choosing, like, okay, in this moment, I feel like I want to show up and I want to create something and I want to be the leader and facilitate something, and or maybe create content or whatever it is. And sometimes I just want to be a hermit a little bit and do my own thing and lay in hammock for an hour and do nothing, whatever it is. So just normalizing both, as long as it's in alignment with who you really are.
Yeah. And also, like, the third I would add is being invisible in a crowd as well. Like, you're just one of the crowd. You're just not a special human. You're one in thousands. Well, I come from India, from Mumbai. You're one in million. It doesn't matter. And in India, there was a lot of this programming that you have to stand out if you want a good job, if you want to make a decent living. You really have to stand out because there are literally millions other who are competing for the same thing and who will replace you in a second. So if you're not killing yourself all the time to be the best, you become a nobody. And being a nobody means that you, like, literally, you're just discarded. So I had a lot of programming, which in the last 3 months especially has been unfolding, and I have been discarding, of having a lot of shame for being very powerful, for having a lot of light, for being unique, for having a lot of talent and shining. And that used to make me uncomfortable because I used to feel like, oh, I don't want to overshadow someone. I don't want to make them uncomfortable. I don't want them to feel small and I am too big. So I had that savior thing of, I don't want to put others down because I am a big personality, big energy, whatever. And there was one aspect of becoming comfortable with, okay, I am big. If others feel small, it's on them. They can choose to feel small or they can choose to feel inspired and grow themselves and shine more. So that is what I used to becoming very comfortable with receiving attention and being the center of attention for some time. And then I started realizing, like, because I finally met that need of being special, being unique, and getting attention for that, because I met that need, I could finally see the other end of the spectrum of, like, okay, now that that need is met, I can also not be special for some time. I can just get lost in the crowd. I can be alone. I can be unnoticed. And I'm super comfortable and I'm super happy just not being noticed for something. So it's really, like, work. For me, it all comes down to shame. Like, it's all about shame. For me, that is the deepest layer of our being. A lot of people say that fear is the deepest driver, and I don't agree with that at all. Fear is very powerful, it's very important, and it drives a lot of people. But once you overcome fear, once you've crossed that level, then you come to the real deal, which is shame. That is a much deeper layer. And that controls us a lot more. So I have overcome a lot of the fears that a lot of people have: the fear of death, the fear of failure, the fear of making mistakes. All of that bullshit for me is like, okay, it's done. I don't care about dying. I don't care about living. I'm okay with fear. Then I came to shame and I was like, holy shit, there's so much here. There's so much to unpack here. And that's what I've been working on in the last few years. And again, I feel like now I feel very comfortable having resolved deep shame issues. And I'm like, okay, now I'm okay as I, wherever I'm.
And that's why, like you said earlier, you have the colors inside of yourself because you cleaned all the shame and regret and fear and all the deep dark colors that were actually just contaminating everything else. So I think that's the beauty also when it comes to
I would say just like a small interruption is, like, instead of saying contaminating, I would say that I was using them to hide. Like I was using, I had a fully black wardrobe, and I was using that to hide, that was a mask. Like I can just disappear in the background. I can become invisible in black. No one sees me.
Yeah.
So it's not contamination, I would say. It's more like a mask. It's hiding.
Yeah, true. And that's the beauty also of people who are listening to this, or anyone who is seeking. Then why do they start working with people like us? Is because they want that colorful internal world too. They want to release all that stuff that's darker, and they are drawn to the light, and they want to do the work, and they reach out because they want a better life, a happier life, and they're willing to do the work that's required, because, well, like, we have these conversations to be open that, well, it doesn't come automatically, and it does require a lot of inner work, and it does require a lot of responsibility to be taken, a lot of agency, a lot of ownership, but damn, it's so good on the other side. Damn, it's so light, and it's so beautiful, and it's so peaceful, and it's so joyful. And it's just, even this morning, actually, I caught myself for like a split second that, oh, I didn't sleep so well. And that, oh, I didn't sleep so well was potentially going to be a trap to not have an excellent day. And just that split second, I just caught myself that, you know what? No, I'm not going in that direction. I'm choosing to have a colorful day. I'm choosing to have an amazing day. I'm not going to allow lack of sleep to just ruin something so precious, because every single moment is a precious moment, because every single moment is now moment that we could choose to live an amazing life. And so those people who are listening, they can choose to live a colorful life.
Yeah, there was an insight that a client friend of mine shared that he said I helped him realize, very much in line with what you're saying. Like, he basically used to have, once every week, he would have a headache, and he would just take the whole day to feel like, oh, this is a bad day. That was his definition of, oh, today I have a headache, it's a bad day. And in one of our sessions, I was like, why?
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? That's ridiculous.
Got out from the bed on the wrong foot.
Yeah. Like, what is a bad day? Oh, you're having a headache. Just deal with the headache, and you can do other things. And okay, maybe you need to rest today and just enjoy resting. And that's a good day because I'm enjoying resting today.
Yeah.
Or I'm dealing with some difficult stuff, and when I'm done dealing with the difficult stuff, oh wow, okay, that was a productive day also. So this whole idea of a bad day is a myth. It's something in our heads. We put that box, today is a shit day, and I'm going to feel miserable. You know what? If you just need an excuse to feel miserable, just give yourself permission to feel miserable today. You don't have to say it's a bad day. You can just say, today I just feel like feeling miserable. Fuck it. I'm just going to sit and mope in bed. I'm just going to pity myself for a day. And I'm going to enjoy that also. And I do that once in a while. I'm just like, fuck, life is not always great. And let me just feel a little shitty for some time. And I
eat some pizza.
No, pizza is good day food. No, feeling miserable means like I have to eat something I don't like. Like, oh, I'm not even enjoying food anymore. Yeah. I don't know when I've had the last miserable day, but if I just want to feel miserable, I don't need excuses. I'm just like, today I want to feel miserable. Today I just want to lay on the bed.
And you know what? It also makes you empowered because I'm choosing to feel miserable. Exactly. It's like, I'm the king of my day. I can choose to be miserable. How empowering is that? It's just a matter of perception.
Yeah. Today I'm choosing to feel like a loser. Today I'm choosing to feel like
I love that.
Like a shit. Okay.
That's so empowering. That's such an awesome paradox where you actually choose to do that. And it's like that makes me feel so in charge over my day and my life, that I can choose however I want to feel today. How powerful is that?
I have not done it for a long time because I think I mentioned in one of the recent episodes when I was like, I think we have an episode titled Wasting Time to Heal Depression. That's what I titled it. Where I literally gave myself permission for 2 years to be like shit. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to spend 14 hours in bed watching Westworld. It's okay. I feel like shit. I'm going to allow myself to feel like shit and just watch TV mindlessly. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I really like for 2 years, I was like, I feel like shit and it's okay. And now today, if I feel like shit, I usually don't feel like shit because I don't feel like shit. But if I feel like shit, it's okay. It's okay. Like, okay, I had a fight with a dear friend today. Okay, I don't feel great. I'm going to ruminate a bit about it. I'm going to feel like I want to complain. Okay, like, today is that day.
Which is acceptance also.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, accept your emotions, accept whatever is going on, accept that you don't feel so great today.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Because what makes it worse is judgment, self-judgment, and
Fighting with yourself
and resistance, and what you resist persists, right? So if you don't allow yourself to just have that miserable day and feel whatever it is that you want to feel or that you're feeling, then it's going to persist even longer and harder, and it's going to be impressed in your subconscious mind even stronger. So when you let yourself feel whatever you want to feel and be miserable for a little while, then fine, it will just flow through you, and next morning you wake up one day and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, it flows much faster when you are not fighting it and you are not in that compulsive mode of I need to be a positive person. I need to think positively. I need to feel good.
That used to be huge. I used to be this like super bubbly person, and I still am in some ways, but I'm also much more calm. Mm-hmm. I'm much more stable. I'm much more balanced. I'm much more peaceful. And sometimes I still have those bubbly moments, but in the past, it used to be my mask. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I'm this bubbly Ruti. Ruti is always bubbly. Ruti is always so active, and Ruti is Ruti. But Ruti now it's like, Ruti is so fruity. But now it's like, yeah, it's a part of who I am, but it's no longer a mask that I am supposed to wear all the time and pretend like I'm always supposed to be that person.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm much more harmonious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the compulsion goes away. It's like, I don't have to be positive all the time. I don't need to feel good all the time. I can feel like shit a little bit. I can feel good a little bit, and I can just feel neutral most of the time, and it's okay.
Yeah, I love neutral. Mm-hmm. I love neutrality, like just feeling harmony and balance, and not having these ecstatic ups and mm-hmm. really low lows. It's like it's just like
gentle wave.
It's just so gentle and so comfortable, and I love that.
Yeah, which brings us to the next topic, I guess, of the last 3 weeks for you has been a big shift of feeling uncomfortable with imperfection, and then suddenly things changing. And today morning, you were sitting in these chairs. So we were supposed to record in the backyard where the normal setup is, and you were just hanging out in these hanging chairs. And at one moment, I was like, should we start recording? And you're like, not yet. And I was like, what? Who is this person who was always like, I don't want to waste time. Let's get shit done. I only have 20 minutes for this call and blah, blah, blah. I was like, not yet.
That was me 7 weeks ago.
Yes.
7 weeks ago, I was like, let's get to the point. Let's get shit done. Let's make it happen. And now I'm like, okay, so
I had given you a task like 6 weeks ago exactly. One of the tasks I gave you have to waste 1 hour every day.
And I'm a master at this right now.
Now 6 weeks later, you're like, not yet. I'm not done relaxing and wasting time.
I'm a master. So the last 3 weeks have been so profoundly changing everything. It's okay, where do I start? So when I landed, of course, at first it was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's such a paradise. It's so gorgeous in the jungle, the nature, the ocean, the monkeys, and like whatever. Everything was just so exciting because it's new. And then I got sick and the jet lag and this and that. And then I also started seeing the things that are not very perfect compared to my European standards. I saw like, okay, maybe the houses aren't as well maintained. Maybe it's not as clean on the streets. Like, you know, I started picking up on these kind of things that aren't perfect. And in that week, I even told you, like, you know what? Maybe it's not really a place for me. Maybe I don't really want to live here. Maybe I can't really imagine myself living in a place like this because it's, you know, my standards are higher. And, you know, I'm so used to things to be clean and well maintained and kind of perfect. And I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I will probably be a recovering perfectionist for the rest of my life because there is a part of me that's perfectionist and I can't help it. But
For
then,
now, I would say for now.
maybe for now, I don't know. But then last week, I started really merging the two worlds of the perfection, of the nature, of the beauty, of the paradise, of everything that I'm experiencing in Brazil that's absolutely amazing and gorgeous, with the imperfection of the things that aren't working very well, of the things that aren't as beautiful and aren't really perfect. And as a result, like merging these two worlds, I realized that, you know what? It actually makes me feel so much more comfortable. And I can actually imagine myself here. And it is magical to see that I can function extremely well in an environment like this. And not only that I relax much more, not only that I waste time and give myself permission to relax and to chill and to read a book or just lay in a hammock for a while or whatever it is, but also at the same time, I do get shit done, and a lot of shit done. Like I work with clients, I have conversations with people, I guide, I study stuff, I have really deep conversations with you or with other people in my life. There's always stuff going on without me having to force myself into doing things. And that is the biggest difference, because before coming to Brazil, I was, again, like the Germanist in me was like, okay, I have things planned. Of course, I had some leverage. I had some flexibility, and I allowed myself to go with the flow, and I wasn't as stiff with my schedule, with my calendar. But in my mind, I always had this goal. I need to do things. I need to make this happen. I need to achieve that. I need to get to a destination. I need to make it happen. While now it's merging together and it's molding into this really beautiful, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like playing life where things happen on their own while I do get things done and I do enjoy life. And it's not one or the other. It's all one and the same. And that's the beauty that I'm experiencing 3 weeks later.
And you also stopped drinking coffee in the last 3 weeks. Although you are not a big coffee person, but still for people, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Like you're living without coffee. What?
Yeah. Yeah. I used to have coffee every single morning. I actually used to drink maybe 2 cups a day, one in the morning, first thing in the morning, and one in the afternoon. And I have not, well, I had like 2 cups of coffee, and both of them were like, meh, like I don't really need it. So a lot of things shifted in a more organic way, in a more full-hearted way where I just go with the flow and I follow inspiration. And some people were asking me, some of my friends were asking me, how does your day look like? What's your routine? And I'm like, I don't have a routine. And that's also what I love. I don't have a routine. Sure, sometimes I will read a book in the morning. Sometimes I will go, spend time with you in the morning. Sometimes we will go to a beach in the morning. Some like every day is different. And that's also something that's so exciting, to not know how tomorrow is going to be. There is no routine. Like, sure, there are some commitments and there are some things that we are both disciplined about when it comes to work, when it comes to work with clients, when it comes to delivering certain like content and things like that.
But you know what? I want to interrupt here because I don't consider myself to be a disciplined person.
Interesting.
One of the things I have in my head constantly, this program which I criticize myself constantly, is I have to be more disciplined. I have to have more self-discipline. I have to do certain things. I should do certain things. I should exercise, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I don't consider myself a disciplined person. I consider myself an inspired person. So I wake up in the morning, I have no idea. And I've been living like this for 8 or 9 years now, where I have no idea what my day is going to look like.
You do have calls though, but that's what I meant with this.
Certain calls, but
you have a calendar where you're like, okay, this is a blocked time with this person. So you have that. I have exactly that. That's the only thing that I'm talking about when it comes.
But when it comes to creating content or something, I wake up inspired. I wake up, I have all these ideas that I really want to write about, that I want to record or whatever, and I wake up inspired. So it's not like I have to wake up every morning and write a post, or I have to do this. It's not that discipline compulsion. It's like, wow, I get to put all these ideas into writing. I get to express myself. I am inspired today and I want to talk about this. So I like to think of it more from that perspective, that it's not discipline in the traditional sense at least. And yes, I honor my commitments. I have calls, blah, blah, blah. But again, for me, it doesn't come into the category of discipline. It's just like, I am inspired. I am inspired to do this. I have a call today and I'm inspired for that call. And sometimes I'm like, I forget that I have the call, and like 5 minutes before the reminder goes off, I'm like, oh fuck, I had planned this. So again, like, I don't put it into the category of discipline because I'm like, I'm living so spontaneously that sometimes I get lost in what I'm doing and I realize, oh shit, I have a client call. Oh shit, I had planned this. And okay, I go and do that.
And that reminds me, spontaneity reminds me also what we spoke earlier about this whole digital nomadism and the fact that I don't have a return ticket and stuff like that. It's like my grandma is turning 80 and I would like to be there with them, and probably I will. But when my family asked me, are you going to be back anytime soon and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know, because I don't want to plan too much. Like I want to live in this spontaneous way and approach. I want to have the basically full freedom, actually. Like I wanted to say some freedom, but actually it's full freedom. In fact, I want to have a choice to do whatever it is that I want to do. If I at the end do go to Lithuania, great. If I last minute decide not to go for whatever reason, I will allow myself to go with the flow. And that's just so freaking amazing to live that way. And a question might come in this case for some people who have responsibilities and have a job or have kids to pick up from, kindergarten, or they have meetings because they run businesses and all that stuff. And then they would be like, it's easy for you to say you don't have any kids, you have the flexibility in your business and you're doing this thing from anywhere in the world. But what about me? I don't have that flexibility. So what would you say to those people?
Well, I have 3 kids. they are furry kids, but they are my responsibility, obviously. Like I take care of them as though they are my children, and I have to cook for them, I have to feed them, I take care of them, make sure that they're healthy and everything. So
and there are specific times when you do that. At
every
9 o'clock, you
every
bring
day.
them somewhere. At 1 o'clock, you feed them.
Mhm.
At 5 o'clock, you pick them up.
Mhm.
At 8 o'clock, you feed them again. So there are specific times. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense, I am responsible again, like that may come into the category of discipline, but I don't think of it in terms of discipline. I'm just like, it's I I love doing it. I love taking care of them. I just do it not because it's an obligation, just because I love doing it.
Yeah.
And once in a while it's inconvenient. Yes, I have to come back. I want to be out and have to come back a bit early, or I feed them a little bit later once in a while. But okay, like I have that flexibility also. But in the thing, this is a concept that I came up with for myself, and I don't think it's a unique concept. I'm sure there are others talking about it, but I discovered this in my own journey. Is I used to be super afraid of being in a prison, of being in a box. And I used to always feel like I don't want any boundaries and I don't want any rules and I just want to do whatever I want. And okay, I have this house, but I don't want the responsibility of dogs or anything. I just want to have the freedom to do whatever I want. I used to have that mindset and I started realizing that was my prison. My prison was thinking that I don't want a prison and I don't want any rules. And that was actually making me miss out on a lot of things that I love. And I started realizing a deep secret about infinity is not about the size of things. It's not about how much freedom you have. It's not about how much you are restricted. I came up with this concept of finding infinity in a box, that you can create infinity, you can experience infinity, you can feel infinite even when you're in a box because there's a lot of space. It's like
you
time,
can expand within the box.
Yeah, like time. Like when you are on psychedelics, you start really understanding time. You feel like, oh, 1 minute is nothing, but 1 minute on psychedelics, you start realizing how it expands, and it's infinite. 1 minute can feel like an eternity, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have to do something at 9 and I have to do something at 1 and I have only 4 hours. If you think in that way, you are in the prison. But if you let go that you have that it's only 4 hours and you say, I have 4 hours, what do I do with 4 hours in life? All of a sudden it's infinite. I have so much time, 4 hours. I can do a lot of stuff. I can do a lot of stuff in 1 hour. So the idea, like, is so much about perception that, oh, I have responsibilities and I don't have freedom and I'm in a box and I'm trapped. No, fuck you. No, you're not trapped. That is your way of looking at life. You can expand everything and make it infinite, or you can make everything into a prism.
This is a beautiful addition to when we spoke about relationships and we spoke about obligations. When it feels like an obligation, then it will feel like a trap. It will feel like, oh, I have to do this thing. I have to go and pick up my kids, and I have to watch them play football. And but then I get to do this. I'm free to do this. I love doing this. I love doing it for me. I love doing it for them. I just love this whole dynamic, and I embrace it fully. And then the whole obligation just fades, vanishes completely.
The prison is inside you. The prison is in your perception. And the problem is that we project our prison into our circumstances. We project our prison into our relationships, into life. Like life starts feeling like a prison. And that's what I was saying earlier, is that life can feel like a prison. Your circumstances can feel like problems, and you are trapped in all these problems and you have to deal with life all the time. Or life can feel like a gift, and everything that's happening is, how do I weave it into my dance and enjoy it? And
Yeah.
everything that's happening is a dance, and I'm enjoying dancing through life. And I hate dancing, just by the way. I'm not a dancer, but my dance is in life. It's with energy. It's not necessarily with physical movements. Like I like dancing once in a while, but I'm not. When I'm talking about dancing with life, it's not about being a dancer.
Not samba in Brazil. Like yesterday, we saw some people dancing on the streets on a Friday night, and he's like, "Not possible."
I can dance once in a while. I was practicing capoeira for 1.5 years. In that, I was going for African cultural events. I was doing samba. I was doing African dancing, and I was again, like there was that prison inside me, which was like, I'm not a dancer. I hate dancing. Why the hell would I volunteer to go for African dancing classes? Am I not? And then I was like, no, I am going to find a way to enjoy this. I don't care about the story in my head. I may not be a dancer, but for this 1 hour of this African dance class, I'm just going to enjoy it. And in the end, I gave a performance in front of people. And I was like,
What?
I just did that. Like before I was going to do that, I was like, holy shit, I have to actually give a performance. And then I was like, I'm just going to give a performance. I don't care. And then I did it and I was like, oh, what an hour that has been. I was doing African dancing.
As an Indian in Brazil doing African dancing.
Well, it's not an Indian in Brazil is a bit random because which the Indians don't usually come to Brazil. But the African aspect of it. So we are in Bahia, and Bahia is the most African part of Brazil because the slaves from Africa were brought here for the cacao farming, the cocoa farming, the chocolate farming. So there's a lot of mixed African population in Brazil.
Interesting.
In Bahia specifically.
Interesting. So when it comes to the prison, it reminded me of what we wanted to speak about also, that when I lived in Portugal, I had the flexibility and I had this tendency. I had a car. I still have a car in Portugal. And the tendency I had was whenever something was uncomfortable or whenever I was kind of called to sit with my feelings or do something, whatever it was.
Or just feeling bored.
Or being bored, like, oh, I'm bored. I would grab my keys and go. I would go and drive somewhere. I would leave. I would go to the beach. I would go do shopping or whatever it was. I would literally, it was such a reflex to just stand up, grab my keys and go. And here I don't have a car and I don't have that flexibility, but actually that gives me it kind of forced me actually to just sit and be like, okay, I'm bored. What do I do with it? Just sit longer. and I love it. And I'm actually, that's also what helped me to embrace the imperfection, embrace the going with the flow, the unknown, the uncertainty. It helped me to reconnect with my heart more and not be the doer as much, but just go with the flow more. And suddenly I love not doing all these things. Like I love being bored. And it makes me wonder then, for the listener, for example, what is it that you might be doing as a reflex? What is it that you're grabbing whenever you feel bored, uncomfortable? What is your distraction? Do you grab your phone to check social media? Do you grab your keys to go somewhere? Do you go to make a cup of coffee? Do you go to the fridge to check what's inside and start eating? What are those reflexes?
TV, drugs, like I think you spoke about your history.
Yeah.
And I will talk about my history. It was a lot of television, a lot of drugs, a lot of not socialize. Like I at one in one phase of my life, it was socializing, like calling people on the phone, talking nonsense just because there's nothing else to do, or going and spending time with friends, not really spending time with friends, but just like I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be bored. So I'm going to go and do something. And I'm going to be busy and I'm going to fill my life with activities and always feel like there is something happening and there's something to do. And constantly in that cycle. And one of the things we were talking about this before the recording, like one of the things you mentioned is that being busy can be fulfilling for some people. And I was like, no, I don't agree with that statement. If you cannot feel fulfilled and content without doing things, you don't feel fulfilled and content while doing things. Because contentment is a state that if you cannot feel it without doing something, you're just filling life with things and being busy and distracted.
So let me give some context why I said that is because I had one specific person in my mind who I don't know very well, but he tends to fill his entire day with stuff. And a weekend, there's always something to do and go out and, bring people together or have a little trip somewhere or, or during the work days, either it's work or it's something after work, going to the cinema, going to this, going to that event, like basically just constantly busy. And I thought, but you know what? He appears to be happy. I just don't happen to know him very well. So I don't know if he's truly happy or he's potentially distracting himself from something deeper.
So there's two things I want to add after the car part. So one thing I want to say is that the way people will be looking at this guy and what they'll be saying about him is, wow, you live such a fascinating life. You're such an interesting person. You have so many friends. You have such a wonderful job. You have such a successful life. You have done it. You have reached the pinnacle and life will only get better for you and blah, blah, blah. But I want to be like you because you look like you enjoy life. You look so satisfied and you look like you have it all. You have friends, you have money, you have family, you have entertainment, whatever. You have it all. So that is how the world will look at this person and put them on that pedestal. The second thing, which I kind of lost while saying the first thing, is basically about the inner state of this person is I cannot stop. I cannot stop doing things. I have to be busy. And why I know this is that I have seen thousands of people in the last 8 years coming, many of them having this story. And I know some of them very closely and some of them, like, because I was working in the retreats and they were opening up and sharing their lives, every one of them underneath feels empty. They feel like, I wish I could stop. I wish I could just sit and do nothing and swing in this chair and look at the plants and not have a thought and just be simple for some time and be content doing nothing.
Yeah.
Every one of them, like that is the experience I was helping them to create. And that is what the session that we had together, I was like, make that your thing, where 1 hour a day, you're doing nothing. And like in the project that I'm creating now, in the property that I have bought, like one of the things I am creating is space for people to just learn to be and do nothing and be bored for a while. And you start realizing boredom doesn't exist. It's just the compulsion that why am I not doing something now? I should be busy. I should be active. I have to get out of this state. And you just allow that to pass and just do nothing. Once that anxiety passes that I'm doing nothing, You can just continue doing nothing. It's exactly what you said. What should I do? Just do more of nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like, oh, there are no keys to grab and drive somewhere. Okay, I'll just continue laying in my hammock.
Yeah. Because what are you going to do when you grab your keys? You'll go to the beach and there you will do nothing.
It just made me remember something that's I think really, to me personally, is very disturbing, because this is also how parents program their children. And I have an example of my brother's family who has 2 kids, and every time kids want attention or something is happening, they just give the phone. And that's from such an early age. There are so many people who program their kids to distract themselves with a screen, with a game, with something that is hypnotizing them, basically. And it really deeply makes me sad to see how we're losing kids. Those kids are just, as we speak, become robots.
Yeah, zombies.
Yeah. And it's just so freaking disturbing that we haven't learned as adults to reconnect with who we are, to not need any of these distractions. And then we give that same disease to an innocent child.
Mm-hmm. You know what is interesting, in my opinion, that nothing has ever changed. The only thing that has changed is the way of distracting. And it's become, well, what has changed is the scale and level at which we are distracting. Is that now there's a lot of distractions, a lot of interesting distractions. So people are a lot more distracted. But I feel like if I look back at my childhood, I won't give an example of my story because my story is a bit different, but I have seen it in relatives and friends that their parents would basically be putting them into activities all the time. Or you have to go for dance classes, you have to go for piano classes, you have to go for martial arts, you have to go for tuitions after that, you have to do this, you have to do that. So they never gave their children just free time. My upbringing was a little bit different, where I had a lot of free time and I had a lot of time to myself to just do whatever I wanted. And I would maybe watch TV and be distracted, or sometimes I would even be creative and I would be painting or whatever and playing with friends. But there was never really the programming of just sit and daydream, just sit and do nothing, just sit and enjoy life. Like, it was there more in my life, as I see, compared to a lot of friends and relatives who now in their upbringing I can see that they are super uncomfortable with not doing anything. They need to fill their lives with things constantly, and they cannot just sit and be.
So,
and I feel also like, people have made meditation into a doing, where it's like, okay, I am doing meditation for 1 hour, and you're not really wasting time on doing nothing. You're doing meditation, and in that meditation, it is your objective to relax and get over the anxiety and stress of the day. And you're using it as a tool to de-stress, but you're not really using it as a tool to just enjoy being, doing nothing.
I know some people who wear meditation as a badge of honor, like, oh, I meditate every day for an hour or half an hour. And I'm like, and are you a happier human being for the rest of the day?
Yeah.
And oftentimes they're not. It's like, And just about the distractions, like, I wish people first took care of themselves and only then decided if they wanted to have kids. Because oftentimes people have kids as a distraction. It becomes like, oh, I don't have a purpose in life, so I will create my purpose. And that is not the healthy way to do things.
It's super toxic because people don't realize the implication of having a child to feel purposeful in life and to feel fulfilled in life. is that you are putting a lot of burdens and expectations on that child that will completely twist that child. And when they grow up, you will have a toxic relationship with them because you need them. You need them to fill that void inside you. And the child will eventually end up resenting you because you are using them. Who wants to feel used, especially by their parents?
Exactly.
Being a creator, you already spoke about it a little bit. Like one of the things that you have been working on more actively, like you've been doing it for a long time, but you've been working more actively about entering into the mindset that you are fully and only the creator of your life.
Yeah.
And you sometimes used to slip into the or forget that you are the creator.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really deep belief in me that I'm still working on, because sure, I have done a lot of things and I have created a lot of things. And like I said earlier, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't even be sitting here in Brazil right now if I wasn't a creator. But the forgetfulness is about, sometimes I feel like a victim to circumstances, as if I can't create clients, or I can't create or influence how much money I make, or I can't influence how some people would treat me, for example. And I just fall into that trap from time to time to not believe that, in fact, I am the one defining how my life unfolds and what I'm creating and how. And honestly, it's as simple as, there's a part of me that's still comfortable being a victim to these circumstances, to be like, I'm doing all these things. I'm so entitled to make all this money and to have all these clients come my way and blah, blah, blah. And where are they? And then I'm like, where are they? And then I just play a victim. And then until I wake up and remember that, holy shit, I'm not entitled to anything. I'm like, why am I playing a victim now? Like I am actually a creator. And the only reason why I'm not creating those clients is the belief that I'm not creating them. That's the only thing that's getting in the way. And then as soon as I flip that and be like, oh, I do have the power to create my clients, and I do have the power to attract the right people in my life, and I do have the power to make decisions that are in alignment with what I want and what I envision, then things start flowing again.
I think also, like one of the things that came up is like you said something very interesting, that when I said that let's talk about being the creator of your life, you said I'm not ready because it's not complete. The journey is not complete. And I was like, that is very interesting, because it is a journey. It is a journey, and there are layers and levels. And in my opinion, the journey almost never ends, because even very further along the journey, these things keep happening. You keep forgetting small things. In small things, you'll become the victim. And then suddenly you're like, wait, no. So the shift that's most important is in catching yourself and doing something different. It's not about not slipping into it. Eventually you slip into it less and less. Eventually it becomes your default state that you realize and remember, and you become that one who is constantly the creator and who's constantly flipping things around and looking for solutions instead of problems. You're looking for solutions. You're not looking for problems.
I'll give a perfect example. I thought, oh, my grandma is turning 80 in July, but I'm in Brazil on the other side of the world, like across the ocean. It's going to be so expensive to go there. And what if I just want to go back again? And basically, I was allowing circumstances to dictate my life, whether or not I'm going to see my family. And then I woke up from that, like, what a bullshit is this? If I want to see my family, I am going to see my family. And if I want to be back in Brazil after seeing my family, I'm going to be back in Brazil. And if I choose to go somewhere else before coming back to Brazil after seeing my family, I will go and do that too. So instead of being trapped again, trapped in a box and trapped with circumstances, I was like, wait a second, no way I'm going in that direction. I am defining and dictating how my life is going to unfold and how my next months are going to unfold. I am the one deciding, and I'm the one creating, and I'm the one designing myself and my life. No one else, no circumstances, no way.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just to keep remembering also that it's a journey, and you keep going to different levels of that journey, and in certain moments you may regress a lot, and because big things are happening and you start feeling out of control and you start feeling like I can't do anything, and it's normal to suddenly start feeling powerless. And then again you wake up and you're like, wait a second, no, no, I will not allow myself to feel that way anymore. I allowed myself for some time. I felt like a victim for some time. It's okay. Now I'm just going to wake up. So this is like one of the big things I have learned from the journey of addiction is relapses are part of the journey. If you allow the relapse to dictate you, again, you're a double victim. Because the relapse happened because of something that victimized you. And then if you become a victim to the relapse itself, you're a double victim. So that is the trick, is I relapsed. It's okay. I gave myself permission to have relapse, and I'm just going to resume the journey and keep going. And I learned from that whatever I learned. And next time I will see if I can do something different.
Something to add also, I just realized that one of the reasons why, when you suggested to talk about this topic, and I said, oh, I'm not there yet, it's because I, as a coach, didn't feel comfortable to share something that I'm not perfect yet at. And I felt like I first need to master it to be able to talk about something, or to be able to teach someone, or to be able to lead someone. And basically, I was wanting to appear perfect. And that's why I'm a recovering perfectionist, because I wanted to have this image of like, oh, I have my shit together. But actually, sure, I have my shit together in many aspects, but there are some things that I still work on, and I will continue working on for the rest of my life. That is the journey, to keep on learning, to keep on, unpeeling the onion over and over and over again. But it's interesting, as we speak, I just realized, oh, I still want to appear a certain way. And just saying it out loud right now, to some extent it feels vulnerable, but to some extent it feels like I'm being real.
And I want obvious. It's so obvious.
Yeah. And I want people to also learn that being real is the real deal. And that's what also makes you a real human who other people will feel connected to and will feel like they belong, because they will be like, oh, I feel this way too. Oh, I'm struggling with that too. Oh, I have that challenge too. And then you can have an actual conversation with another human being, because you're not just appearing a certain way, but you're being a real person.
One of the things in relation to that I want to talk about is mastery. Like, I have been told by many people in the later years, like after 8 years of doing the work that I have been doing, a lot of people have told me like, wow, you're a master at this, you've done a lot, you're at super high level. And I do consider myself to have mastery in many domains of self-worth. And I feel also very comfortable saying that now. Earlier, I used to feel like, oh, that's too arrogant. How can you just call yourself a master? I'm like, okay, I have done a lot of shit. And if, like, I heard this from one of the coaches I'm working with. Is like, he said that it's not bragging if you've actually done. And I really like that. Like, yeah, I have done a lot of shit. I have mastered a lot of shit in my life. And I'm very comfortable saying that. But one of the things I can say at my level is that mastery is not perfection. Mastery is just having a lot of practice and not being perfect. And you the master has the skill to keep flowing, to keep navigating life, no matter what is happening. It's not I I perfectly navigate life. It's that I navigate life. Whatever happens, I find my way through it. For me, that is mastery.
It's a bit like fitness. Like if you're a bodybuilder, like you know how to build the muscles.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to make it happen. You know what to train, how to eat. You know all the ins and outs of how to become a bodybuilder or a really fit person. But if you don't practice, then the muscles are going to die. And if you start eating shittier, then the body's going to change. So you have to keep on doing. You know how to do it, but you have to keep on doing.
And whether you're a teacher of consciousness or a bodybuilder or everything, you have mastery in certain domains and you're a complete idiot in other domains. And you don't know how to do them.
What are you an idiot at?
Many things. Like, I consider myself to be, like a lot of people tell me, wow, you're very mature for your age, you're very wise for your age. But I consider myself to be a very immature person in certain aspects. I'm like,
a friend of mine was always saying, oh, you're so mature beyond your ears.
Yeah, like a lot of people have told me that. And like, many times I'm coaching and counseling people who are like way older than me. Like I have clients who are like 60 plus.
Same.
And they're looking at me for advice. And sometimes they will ask me a question like, I have no fucking idea. Like, why are you asking me this? And they're like,
I never had grandchildren.
And they're like, you're so wise. And I'm like, okay, but yeah, okay, like I can give you my opinion, but what was very interesting, yesterday I was reminded on a call of, I had a group of women, it was only women, and coincidentally, most of them turned out to be moms. And
wow,
that went on for about 9 months. I had that group for 9 months, and well, not because of any baby reasons. It was just like it lasted 9 months. But what started happening in that group was many of the time I was teaching the women to reparent themselves from all the conditioning that they had received. And they were telling me, this is super good advice for raising our children. And at the end of the group, like when I was closing the group, several of them told me, you should write a book on parenting. I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, a single guy who has never had human children, you want me to write a book on parenting? Really? Yes, totally. You are the person to write a book on parenting. Like, that's interesting. And then I started taking it seriously. Like, I have reparented myself, so I have an idea of what it is to be a parent to myself. I have taught a lot of people, have worked with a lot of people to reparent themselves. I know what unconscious parenting means. I know what conscious parenting means. So yeah, maybe like I do have some experience and skills in this domain, and maybe one day I will write a book on parenting as a single guy. Like, I will write a parenting book coming from being a single guy and not having children, but knowing what it is to be parented, knowing what it is to reparent myself. And that's the thing is that for me, like you may not even realize the skills that you have. You may not even realize the mastery you achieved in some domain. And in some domains, you have no idea what you're doing. And sometimes you realize you think you have no idea what you're doing, and actually you are very good at it. And you ask me the question, where do I consider myself to be immature or undeveloped? And I would
or an idiot.
or an idiot. And I would say being an adult, like, or running a business. Like, I have no idea. Like, although I have been running a business for 2.5 years, I am not a businessman. Like, I have no idea what it is to have a real team of people.
You are the business man.
well, whatever. Like I'm sure that when the team starts, and I'm not even saying if, I know that someday I'm going to become someone who has a team and who is leading people. And I've done that in the past on smaller scale. I have been a mentor, I have had apprentices and whatever. So I know what it is to lead people, but still, I don't consider myself to be a proper, ruthless businessman who can navigate the business world. But I know that when the day comes, I will learn all those things and I will navigate all of that. But in that aspect, yes, I do consider myself to be immature and not have any experience.
So another thing that I realized in the last couple of weeks, because we know each other for not even 2 months properly.
It will be 2 months and 3 days.
Exactly. And I'm here for a little bit over 3 weeks now. So, and we were talking about friends and how a lot of people have this misconception that, oh, with age, it becomes harder to make friends. And to me, it's just complete, utter bullshit. Because to me, the fact that not only that I made a freaking amazing friend in my life in an extremely short period of time, but also in a really, really, really deep and profound way. And I think that we know each other pretty damn well. There are, of course, dimensions and they will add, and it's just, it's beautiful to get to know each other. But overall, I would write you down on a list of people that I would like, if something happens to me, that you're one of them that would have to take care of me or something. And I don't know, sell my organs to somebody or something. But my point being is that a lot of people are afraid that, oh, if I leave that community or if I stop being friends with these people because it doesn't really click anymore, they're afraid that they will stay lonely. But it cannot be further from the truth, because as soon as, I mean, I'm sure some people could say, oh, but you're still young. Sure, that could be an excuse. But my experience so far after starting to work on myself, when basically I no longer keep in touch with most of my old friends, actually. There are some that I still keep in touch with and I still see them from time to time. But most of my closest quality friends actually came into my life in the last, I would say 5 years, maybe even less, probably 3 years even. And why did that happen is because I knew who I was. I knew what I stand for. I knew what's important to me. I became more authentic. I became more truthful. I started speaking my truth and being unapologetic about it. I stopped shying away, and that effortlessly started attracting amazing people who are next caliber people that I connect with in a very soulful way. So to me, when people are again playing victims that, oh, I won't be able to make friends, it's like you're just not putting yourself out there, and you're not, you just keep on being a hermit or playing a victim or pretending that you can't do anything about it. Well, in fact, there is a gazillion of different ways to connect with other people and to really make incredible friends.
You are saying you're young, but I think there are many people who would consider our age to be too late to make new friends, and they freeze their friends at the age of 28 or 30, and they are going to be my friends for life, or I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. And I think a lot of people restart making friends very late in life. Like, oh, now I'm old, now I have to have old friends, or I have to reconnect with some very old friends, or like, okay, now I'm 50 plus, now I can maybe I can make new friends. But a lot of people have this realization very late in life. And I don't think there's any period where you can't make new friends. It's like you can make new friends at any time.
Yeah.
If you just allow yourself to be open, if you just allow yourself to be vulnerable, then you can make real friends. Of course, you can make superficial friends all the time. But I think one of the other things that you're talking about is making real deep connection. And you can really do that at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's really important there is intuition, because sometimes, like, some people that I have met in the last 5 years, some I met online, like you. Some I have met in a coaching school. Some I have met in a meetup event, face to face. Some I have met on a plane. And why did I connect with these people? Because of intuition. Because there are millions of people online, but I connected with you. And there were dozens of people in the event, but I connected with that one person. And there were 100+ people on the plane, but I caught one person who was literally sitting on the other side of the plane. And somehow we were like, we need to talk. And we talked after the plane landed. So it's just, it can be so magical also, the way people come and enter your life. You can never really plan that. Mm-hmm. So follow your intuition and just do what feels right, and go and say hi to that random person that you, for whatever reason, feel drawn to.
You cannot plan it, but you can ban it. Or
yes.
You can ban it or you can allow it. And that is the power that you have.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Open yourself up. Mm-hmm. Be open, be willing. Sometimes be willing to be uncomfortable. Be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Maybe you're not comfortable with, putting yourself out there, or downloading some kind of a app where you connect with other people, or maybe you're not comfortable introducing yourself to others. But yeah, just
and I think also allowing yourself to be surprised. Like, a lot of the times you see a photo of a person or you read something about them and you're like, this is not the person for me. This is like, I mentioned this before, that several people asked me, like, why are you connecting with Ruta? She seems so...
Really?
Like, I did not say this to you, but that happened. Like, when people saw the first episode, they're like, she doesn't at all seem like the kind of person I connect with usually.
Interesting.
Like the people who know my friend, they're like, she seems so different from all the people that you usually talk to. And I was like, I know that there is something in her that is very different from the mask.
Intuition.
Yeah, like my intuition was telling me that she has a mask, but who she really is very different. And I want to connect with that. And so quickly, like, your mask dropped and I was able to connect with the real you. And it's turned out to be one of the deepest connections, like you say. So allow people to surprise you. Allow yourself to go beyond the story of the mask that someone is presenting, and make it also like a challenge. Like, can you make this person feel safe enough to drop their mask and be vulnerable and connect with them deeply? Like, can you create that space that someone wants to connect with you, someone wants to allow themselves to be real with you?
That's so interesting. I'm so happy that this is also where we wrap it all up, because the motorcyclists are passing me. No, but because it's wonderful to be in a place where, reflecting back, I didn't even realize that I had that mask. Mm-hmm. And that mask was just being professional. Like, I need to appear professional. And why would I wear a shirt like this if I'm so professional? And it's just so wonderful to feel comfortable being yourself and being vulnerable on camera, sharing with the world, and putting yourself out there in a raw way, in a real way, and connecting with people because you no longer hide.
Yeah, I think, what is interesting is that the people I choose as friends are usually the people who drop their mask and who can easily detect marks. So like that's why the friends that who came and gave me that feedback, they are people who can see through masks and be like, this person is not being real. They are wearing a mask. So it was very interesting. Like, it was for how it is easy on the outside for people to realize that this person is wearing a mask or they're being real.
Yeah.
And I'm sure even you have that radar, and it's probably enhanced even more now that you can easily see like, well, this person is just pretending to be someone. And I'm not interested in people who are pretending to be someone. I want to know the real you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if somebody listening to this want to become the real you, then call us.
This is what I wanted to say to wrap up, was about the show. Like one of the comments I've got from a lot of people in the early days, less so now, is that a lot of people used to tell me, like, how can you wear these clothes in your job? Like, not this. Today I'm wearing something which is more normal, although it's talking about alien abduction and like the tagline. So it's a guy that is being sucked up by a spaceship. And below it says, this is not an abduction, it's a rescue. So it's not a normal shirt, but it's more normal than usually. Like I wear very colorful shorts and crazy shorts. And a lot of the people used to tell me, like, that's not professional. You have to wear nice shorts and normal clothes and simple clothes. And when you're talking to CEOs and when you're talking to entrepreneurs and you're talking to business people and professionals, you have to wear a shirt and be professional when you're giving sessions. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, there's no way that I'm wearing any of that bullshit. If that's what someone expects of me and that's the reason someone doesn't want to work with me, fuck them. I don't want you as a client. If you realize like that is a bullshit expectation that you have and I don't need to fit into some model, and what is more important than what I'm wearing is what I'm saying and my ability to help you, that is the person I want to work with. And a lot of the people also ask me like, you're so good in psychology. Like, what degree do you have? I'm like, I have no degree. I have no labels. I have no letters to put across my name. I don't even have a certificate. I don't have any coaching, official certification or anything. If that is what you're looking for, I am not the person for you.
Totally. I had exactly also the same experiences sometimes that people would be like, so how are you educated? Like, no psychology degree? Well, honestly, if you need that, then I'm not your coach.
Are you qualified to coach me? Fuck yes.
Yeah.
But not on paper.
Yeah.
Like, the experience I have is what speaks for itself. I am super.
It's not even experience only. I think it's the embodiment.
Everything.
You
like, for me,
are the person who lives the life that your clients want. They want that peace. They want to be authentic. They want these things.
Most of my clients, I think all of my clients don't want to be living the life that I'm living on the surface.
Yeah, no, it's their own way, but that's
not the circumstances. That's the thing is I don't teach people to be me. I teach people to be you.
Exactly.
That is, and I am very good at that. And I have a lot of experience. When I say experience, for me, it's automatically embodiment.
Yeah.
It's like whatever I have learned and trained has been experiential. It's not been theoretical. It's not just I understand it here and then I go and do something completely different in my life.
Yeah.
I teach what I have experienced and lived. And yes, I'm super good at that, but there is no paper that is saying that. And if that's what you're looking for, let me give you some numbers and emails and you can contact them. Because I know some very good people.
And then 3 years later, you will call me again.
Maybe. But like, I know a lot of people who have degrees who are also great and who are skilled and who can help you. So if you want a recommendation of someone with a degree, contact me for that. you don't give a shit about that, and you don't care about me wearing crazy shorts and having crazy background, and you don't need my background to have a list of degrees and certificates and be in an office
and a whiteboard.
whiteboard and books and a library to show how smart I am. Like I've seen a lot of coaches have like they will have those framed certificates and then they will have a library and look at how smart I am, look at how many books I've read.
Yeah.
No, this is the background you will get, all the other background.
I just had Morpheus on the background when I lived in that place.
Yeah. Either you will have nature or you will have the psychedelic tapestry or you will have some crazy background, but you will not have
or a mosquito net.
Or a mosquito net. But the mosquito net with some crazy background. So
love it.
That's what you'll get if you want to work with me. That's what you can expect is crazy shorts and crazy backgrounds and beautiful shorts.
And a beautiful life. And powerful conversations, life-changing realizations, aha moments.
Life-changing and self-changing.
Absolutely.
It's not only life-changing, you will change in the conversation. That's what a lot of people get surprised by is that maybe their life did not change at all. Maybe the circumstances remain exactly the same. Maybe I don't need to quit my job to change my life. Maybe I don't need to move to Brazil to change my life. Maybe I can live where I am with the family that I have, with the friends that I have, the relationships that I have, the job that I have, and I can learn to enjoy all that and be fulfilled with all of that. That is a shift that a lot of people have working with me is that I don't need to change anything. I actually have a great life and only I need to change and I can change and just start enjoying things.
Yeah, that's how powerful it is.
Mm-hmm. So, well, that's where you will wrap it. Keeping it real, allowing yourself to be real. For me, this was one of my favorite episodes.
Really?
Really. Like, I really enjoyed doing the episode, talking about all the things that we talked about. And I really liked the new setting. So, like, seeing you with that background on the screen and seeing you in reality, it was very interesting. I also like to change things up, shake things up once in a while. So, it was fun, this new setup. And I think I'll be doing more from this setup.
It's been a pleasure, and I love my shirt.
That's Thank great, you. Chloe. Thank you.
See you next time.